Alright, y'all. So, I wanted to bring attention to something real quick. And I saw this post, um, and here I'll read it to you. Basically, it's Senator Chris Murphy, right? He makes a statement. He says, uh, DHS is shutting down. Why? Because the Democrats took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution, and ICE is lawless and out of control. We cannot fund an agency that is murdering our citizens, tear gassing school zones, and disappearing legal immigrants. So I just want to emphasize the last part, right? Disappearing legal immigrants. Um, Basically, you know what I mean? It makes me feel like a dumbass, you know what I mean? Because I'm reading it and, it kind of mislead me to think that, um, it's just the way it's worded, um, and it's a very misleading word, right? Some people like me, right, the dumbasses, would think that ICE is kidnapping people and making them disappear, right? But on the contrary, you know what I mean. And ChatGPT will clear that up. You know what I mean. It doesn't mean what it's what it says. You know what I mean? Like ICE is not disciplining people. They're not kidnapping people without people not knowing, right? In most cases, they're just taking people away. They're couldn't what you call it? They they go to retrieve the individual, detain them because they either can't show proof of their status then and there, right? So they're being taken and defined as being taken by ICE, right? Um, and in most cases, it's not a kidnapping. So if it was a kidnapping, then it wouldn't be um a what do you call it? You know what I mean? But people like me, when I'm reading it, right? You know what I mean? Like now, like um when you watch the protests and stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like these people are are protesting and they make it seem like it's a horrible thing. You know what I mean? Like they're literally snatching people off the streets, right? Um, and and being super random about it, right? Um, and so I looked into it with ChatGPT. ChatGPT only named one person, and they couldn't name anybody else that was detained, right? Um, with legal status. You know what I mean? It was an Irishman, right? Who overstayed his visa. You know what I mean? Totally different from every other circumstances, right? All these other circumstances are, they won't like. There's no names behind it. So when the Chris Murphy guy, senator, right, makes these bold claims, he needs to put the names behind them, and I think a lot of people do, because it just gives it less credit to the statement. There's no evidence, right? Um, and then when you go talk to ChatGPT, it defines what disappearing means, right? And so let's go to ChatGPT. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT means, right? There have been serious allegations that ICE has held immigrants in legal status who then vanished from public records. Investigations found that many detainees disappeared from ICE locator systems after being transferred between facilities. For example, 2025 Washington Post report detailed the dozens of migrants vanished from the system. And Amnesty International noted rapidly state-to-state transfers that cut off family and lawyer contact. However, these incidents weren't haven't been legally defined as kidnapping, but they do raise deep concerns about transparency and due process. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like, they throw the words around, right? And I think it's misleading the people. It's giving people, you know, making them think that, like, people are being kidnapped. They're not being kidnapped, right? They're being taken right in front of their families, right? And they're being held in detention. But the problem is, what I mean, like, since the system, um, the locating system is is not updated all the time, or maybe someone can't track someone down as fast enough, right? And people get worried. You know what I mean? So, um, with anything, systems, right? Things can happen, and people are impatient because they fear the unknown. But I mean, in any case, like, um, yeah, I mean, mistakes can happen. I don't know what to tell y'all. It happened during Obama administration too. So you know what I mean. And he detained a lot of you know a lot of people as well. So you know what I mean. It's like you're agitating, you're instigating, right? And that's all it is. You know what I mean. Like, yeah, due process is it will be determined per individual cases, right? So you know what I mean. Like, yeah, it's good to what do you call it, to call them out on it, but you can't. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you're villainizing something that's been around since 2003, guys. You know what I mean? Like, y'all should have villainized a long time ago. Why all of a sudden now? Because the wrong guy's in office, right? Anyway, just my 2 cents, y'all. Peace.